Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Telcoin's chart. And if you remember in the previous video, we were right in here and I was saying, as long as we are not taking this low, I think we are allowed to be optimistic and say maybe we are having like a series of 1-2s. And for example, this can be 1-2 and then another 1 and 2. And soon, hopefully, we are going to get a big move up into wave 3, 4, 5. And even when we took this low, I was saying, okay, there is still a chance that we might be having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a 1 correction for wave 2. And again, let's hope that we get a big move on the upside. And that, unfortunately, as you can see, definitely didn't play out. However, it's not all bad news. And I want to start counting waves from this point right in here. But before that, let's go around this here. Okay. If you want to argue, we're going to have some sort of a low, even maybe our final low around here. Okay, you need to be able to find off of the lowest low a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up. This specific example is an impulse. Rules for it are we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave, wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. And in terms of the subwaves, 5 up into wave 1, 3, and 5. Let's change the colors to red. Okay. And for wave 2 and 4, we can have different counts. It's not really that important. Let's say, sure, ABC into 4 and a WXY into wave 2. Now let's go on the live chart and see what is happening. And maybe it's best to go back on the crypto.com's chart because yes, I think in here we are having better looking candlesticks. So question number 1, between these two low, which one is the lowest one? It's actually, yes, this one right in here. And I am absolutely able to find from here to about this high a 5 wave on the upside. What is happening next? I think we should actually ignore this shadow and say this whole move down is most likely a correction. Probably, yes, a WXY in form of a flat and a zigzag. This can be an ABC flat into wave W, correction up in form of an ABC into wave X, and this is another ABC, this time in form of a zigzag into our wave Y. Now, let's zoom in more. Okay, I believe from this point, this is 1, this is wave 2, and then probably 5 wave up to about this point, or maybe here, not important, into wave 3. Correction for 4, maybe like a triangular structure, and right now we are having yet another move on the upside into wave 5. And in Telcoin, if you want to be optimistic, you can argue maybe on a higher degree. This is a wave 1, correction for wave 2, and then at the moment we are on our way to have a good move up into wave 3, 4, 5, which means overall, hopefully our final low is already here. Now, in an ideal scenario, I really do not like to see this thing. Why? Because I'm considering having a series of 1-2s in here, meaning this can be a wave 1, correction for wave 2, and then another move up into wave 3, 4, 5, which on a higher degree, it's going to be into wave 3, correction for 4, another move into wave 5. Why is it that I like this scenario a bit more than the other one? And I would really love it if this happens, because let's just do this and also delete this one. If we get, for example, from the current point or like just a bit higher, not important, a consolidation pattern, and then we get another move on the upside, at that point, I'm willing to bet that a lot of people are going to see this beautiful looking head and shoulder structure and say, this is actually working, and now it's time to go up big time, and they are going to open some long positions, which will cause, in my opinion, a massive move up into hopefully this potential big wave 3. So let's have a quick conclusion and see what happened in the short term. So far, we are able to find 2 sets of 5 waves on the upside. Now, if we are bullish and if we really want to be ideal and optimistic, I want to see from the current point a consolidation pattern and yet another move up in order for me to be able to say 2 things. Number 1, we are having a series of 1-2s, which means the next phases on the upside are going to be in an attempt to complete a series of wave 3s, indicating our move up is going to accelerate quite a bit. Number 2, this head and shoulder at that point is going to get confirmed. And what is the target for it? You need to first put your chart on regular scale. Okay, I'm going to say this in every single video. There is no measuring targets on logarithmic scale. And then you need to measure the height of your pattern from here to about this point and put it at your breaking point. Let's say we're going to break it in here. This is giving you about like 0.6 in Telcoin, meaning from the current point we can expect like a 20-25% move on the upside, hopefully. Now, every single scenario should have a very important invalidation point. And what's it going to be for all these bullish ones? Well, you probably know it. It's going to be having a very strong move down, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in order to take this low. But since this low is extremely close to this one, well, having this invalidation point is kind of useless. And that's kind of the main point of today's update. I don't really care what is going to happen in the short term. No, I think we need to pay much more attention to what is happening overall, starting from the lowest. Why? Because in Telcoin, since in the recent move down we took all these lows, now we can say maybe this is a correction structure down, potentially in form of an A, B, C flat, and we said that in the previous update so many times. This is a 5-wave up, probably a leading diagonal in form of a wedge, then correction structure down, yet another very strong 5-wave on the upside. And if you want to be bullish and you want to say the low is already an on Telcoin, well, okay, maybe this is one ABC flat for wave 2, and what's gonna happen next? Big move up into wave 3, 4, 5, which on a higher degree it's gonna be into a wave 3, and then correction for 4, another move on the upside into wave 5. For now, for my bullish cases, I'm considering this thing as the primary one, and it is actually a really beautiful looking 1 and 2 structure, and let's hope and pray that this is going to play out. And that brings me to what we said earlier. Every single analysis should have an invalidation point. And what's it going to be for this overall bullish scenario and pretty much every other bullish count? You know it. It's going to be having a strong move down in order to take this specific low down here about 0.4 of a cent. So in Telcoin, I'm going to say there is a chance, despite the recent move down, which and we took all these lows, we are still looking optimistic and maybe we are bullish, and these are a series of 1-2s. However, pretty much all the bullish cases are going to get invalidated the moment that we take this low. But since we're not there yet, makes sense to be less pessimistic and more optimistic and hope that the low is already in, and from here we are going to see a massive move on the upside. And finally, let's check out some indicators, and maybe it's best to change the scale on logarithmic and so more. Okay, what is going on in here? As you can see, in a stock RSI, do we have a buy signal? Yes, we do have a buy signal, but it seems like that we may see soon a sell signal. However, this is not confirmed yet. We need to wait until the end of the week, until the current weekly candle closes. And at that point, if we get this thing, fair enough, maybe it's not going to be an optimistic sign. But for now, since we are having buy signal in here, and especially since this happened around the oversold region, we can say this is definitely a good sign. But in MACD, so far, unfortunately, we are still having this sell signal, which is absolutely not optimistic. So what should we do? Again, if you do not care about the short-term price action and you're not really interested to know what is going to happen in the next 2-3 weeks, I would like to suggest to just wait a little bit more and see buy signals in these two indicators at the same time. And at that point, you can be bullish with much more confidence. And for example, where was the last time that we saw a buy signal in MACD? It was right at this candlestick, about 0.2 of a cent. And what happened? We got about like a 6x move on the upside. What about the previous time that we saw a buy signal? It was, yes, at this candlestick, about 0.2.5%, and we saw about like a 120% move up. The previous time was actually all the way down here, about 0.1%, and we saw a 3x move up. What about the previous time? It was at, I believe, this candlestick, about 0.15%, and yes, we saw about like a 130% move on the upside. So as you can see, having a buy signal in MACD is definitely an optimistic sign, and it could potentially and hopefully cause some massive moves on the upside. That's why, again, if you do not care about what is going to happen in the next couple of weeks, you are much better off waiting a bit more until we get a buy signal here. And what is happening in daily time frame? As you can see, we are having a sell signal in MACD and stock RSI at the same time, but it seems like that we want to have a buy signal here. However, this is not confirmed yet, and this time you don't really have to wait that long. Just wait until the current daily candle closes, and at that point, if we still have this thing, that can be a very good sign indicating maybe the low in Telcoin is already in and we are going to have a good move on the upside. So overall in TL, as long as we are not taking this low, I do not believe that we should lose hope. And sure, the fact that in the recent move down we took all these lows is definitely not a good sign, but it's not the end of the world, okay? It just means that we cannot have, for example, from the current point, a very fast move up that is going to happen in the next week or two. No, it just means that once more, if the low is already and truly in, we are going to have a building phase, which and that you are going to see something like this, and then we are going to have another move on the upside. That is pretty much the difference between the current scenario and the one that we had way back down here. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Telcoin's chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets. As a matter of the fact, today I am doing a market update for my members. So if you want to have access to those infos, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.